creative talents to become businessmen. And having gone through that process himself,
Still working on it.
well, I'm still working on it. What kind of advice do you have for people who are consider themselves creative, but who need to learn business skills, who need to have kind of that side of the brain developed to get to something?
Ron, all you can.
This is something that I've always told people. One of the successes of it was early on. Obviously, it wouldn't have happened without fans following and buying all the books. And that was what happened. That's what Image was able to be successful on. But I've always said that the greatest function of Image Comics was its business function. If we had actually brought in like a legitimate business partner, some investor or something, or someone that knew how to run business, it would have been gone in 6 months ago than we thought. Because it couldn't have functioned like a real business, and it didn't. And so we learned how to run businesses in a very cash-backward way. Because fortunately, the fan market was so supportive of us that we could screw up every day. And we did. Not every week. Every day, we made some mistake, and we, for the most part, learned from it. Some mistakes we still make, because they're charming mistakes. It's like we don't want to give those mistakes up. We love them; they help us work better. But yeah, it was tough, and like I mentioned in there, Jim, I think put it the best when he was talking about how tough it was. And I think when Jim made his decision to go to DC, I think part of it was he was tired. I think he was tired of running a business and worrying about payroll and worrying about a lot of his friends who were working for him and were depending on him to make a living, families and all that. I think it just wore on him, and he didn't want that anymore. So we respected that. It did hurt, but we respected it. Obviously, we're still here, so it's like keep your eyes open if you're an entrepreneur. Todd always says that great quote. I said this earlier that talk where the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur is an employee will walk up to the edge of the cliff and look and see if there's something safe to land on. An entrepreneur takes 10 steps back and just flies off there and worries about it in midair. So that's the spirit you got to have. You're learning. Art and commerce is historically not fixed. I think that Image Comics proved that we can make it happen. So don't be afraid if you want to start off being a businessman and a creative person. It works. That's fine.
Just to kind of, was there any doubt ever on your guys' part, like after breaking away from the big companies and you're on your own, like did you ever have a moment where you just felt like you had no idea what to do?
No. I mean, you understand. My dad, God bless him, loved me to death, saw his son realize a crazy comic book dream, but he saw that I was selling 1 million copies a month at Marvel. People forget the second issue of X-Force with no polybags, no trading cards, like 1.6 million. And I'll be honest, I got about $1 million in issue off X-Force because I got whatever, because I wrote it and I turned. So again, I'm 23 and I'm leaving. I tell my dad and my mom, hey, I'm gonna go start this wiki-wacky business and make my own little crazy characters. And my dad, son, do you know what you're doing? And I love him to death. What he had in mind, he was like, you are playing for the championship here. I mean, what are you doing taking yourself off the team? Now the flip is, so I'm selling 1 million of X-Force. Today, 100,000 is a lot of copies. Back then, that would get you canceled. But if you owned everything, on my little yellow sheet that I worked out on my math, all I knew was I needed to sell 100,000 copies of my new book to be happy. I didn't have eyes on buying a mansion and buying cars and being the Wolf of Wall Street. I just wanted to do my own thing. And to me, I was like, I'm going to make this happen. I told my dad, believe me, I can get 10% of this audience to follow me. I believe in that. And, we were all ready. There's something weird about our generation. I think about it all the time. I mean, Mark was ready, Jim was ready, Todd was ready. It was a different world. I mean, Marvel and DC were still the top publishers, just like today. But there is a hesitation and conservatism in the business that did not exist. I'm going to tell a story out of school. because I'm really kind of far removed from it, but I know that there was about 5 artists who about 6 years ago were going to break at their peak at Marvel and come to Image. And they were all top guys at Marvel and DC. But they had a list of demands, because like Mark said, they were like, I need to land, I need a soft landing. You guys you're asking me to jump off the cliff. And I remember going, this is going to be awesome, it's going to rocket the comics books industry to the core. They all backed out, because they just didn't have them. And I was like, that's boring. And to this day, those guys could not do that today. They don't have that. They don't have the heat anymore, because they stayed too long at the dance. And we all knew our opportunity, like, this window is open, you gotta go through it. Window's closed. Directors, actors, pop stars, athletes, comic artists. You have that window, you gotta go through it. So, I don't know you asked.
Beaver's gonna read it out forever.
No,
Beaver's
I think about Beaver. I go, this kid doesn't see the door is closing. Kid, what are you doing? I see my son walking here, I go, why do people like does he even have a hit song? And my 13-year-old son says, no. So I'm like, okay, my teenage kid tells me Beaver's got nothing left. But I guess baby will make him money till he's 60.
I'm impressed you even knew the name of the song.
I am a 10-year-old girl. Come on.
Okay, hi. So I forgot to ask you this, Rob, when you signed my cable issue 87, and I feel like kind of backtracking what you guys were talking about, the writing was on the wall because you really wrote and drew some of the more edgier, darker, some of the coolest characters that the Marvel Universe has ever seen. Also along that lines with Cable, I mean, Deadpool, you can kind of describe him in one word. He's crazy. Wolverine, he's wild. How would you describe Cable's character? And then the same thing with you, Mark. How would you describe creating Mr. Sinister? How do you describe his character? And have either of those characters lended to you creating other characters down the road when you branched off into your independent?
You know, again, I'm going to tell you something. Marvel and DC, I respect them. I think they put out quality comics. I look at them, I peruse them. I think they're really well done. They don't get me excited because nobody can make anything new anymore. They have to constantly recycle what's in the catalog, because Marvel, as a corporation, has decided, which is in their means. I don't think they're evil. They're not bad, but Mr. Sinister, Cable, we were just making exciting characters. But the bottom line was the gauntlet was always thrown down to create something new, keep kicking the door open. That doesn't exist anymore. No, the creators don't want to create anything for Marvel because they're not going to own anything, and because they've changed the situation. And Marvel doesn't want you to create anything new for them because they don't want to be put in a position to having to owe you anything. So it's constantly in the big. No one's going to sit here and criticize Marvel. Their film catalog, TV catalog, cartoon catalog, they're the cream de la cream. Is that even a word? They're the top. They're the top of the business on so many levels. Image is where why you're selling, you as a retailer are selling some Image comics, is because that's where everyone's been storing all their ideas and they're bringing them in. Right. And that's, like Mark said, the most crazy company that ever existed. And they're coming because they go, are you telling me I can keep this? And that's where the brotherhood stayed intact. Nobody ever went in and said, give me a piece of soccer, because you didn't have it.
Because each Wednesday, let me tell you something, they don't talk about, hey, what's going on in Marvel, hey, what's going on in DC. In my store, I can't speak for other stores, so just talk about my store. We're talking about, hey, did you read what happened last week with this image comic or this image comic? We like this class, for example.
Yeah, good story.
And you know what? And Poison Ivy, I will talk to you about Cable at my table, Tom Blue in the face. It's an Image, and Punisher, you're with Poison Ivy. You guys can come by, I'll talk to you about Marvel stuff. But I mean, this is an image-centric thing, but I do believe that we were encouraged to create there. And they had good deals. Now, those deals don't exist anymore.
So they had, in response to Image at its highest point, we actually made a lot of money for the guys who stuck at Marvel. Because they had to create something called a super contract to compete with the money that we were paying out. And there's some guys that, you know, 1 month they were making, comic books is tough. It's tough to make a good living in comics unless you get some certain breaks. It's a lot of work. But there are some guys that 1 month were getting paid, oh, I can pay my rent, to, oh my goodness, what kind of house am I going to buy? You know, within a one-issue span, they got these contracts. So I was like, there's all kinds of like trickle-down effect that Image has had in the past and in the present and future. And kind of going back to the jumping off and landing on something soft, one thing that Image provides now, and it's without judgment whatsoever, is that we created a soft pad for you to land on. You know, so you can be an entrepreneur, you can come to Image, you can jump off a cliff. Look, if it works, you become Robert Kirkman. Good for you, we're happy. If it doesn't, you land on the pad, you bounce back up, and you work from home. You know, Marvel's not, if you've got chops as a writer or an artist, you can work. It's that simple. You can work. You can get a job anywhere. Image just still offers you the opportunity to work and own and control your own destiny. You know, and we literally don't take anything from you other than a couple bucks to publish your book. That's it. And it's just the cost of the book. And otherwise, you become perfect, good for you. You know, then you can go and you can step on next to the surface.
And you asked earlier about did we have a guarantee and were we nervous? And I just want to go, the guarantee was the X-Force book. I knew that that was going to sell at the top the next year and a half. So we risked it. I've read people going, oh, Image guys, they knew what they were going to, no, people could have said, Youngblood, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I've been laughed out, you know, of the industry. The thing is, we all played our cards and it played out well for us. We were fortunate to have and continue to have some of the best fans in the whole world that have supported us. And we, I think, have a great relationship with the fan base at the time. And when we didn't deliver our books on time, we broke some of that and then had to earn it back. But I mean, we had a tremendous, we learned by going to Image that they would follow us. If there was no guarantee, the guarantee was the X-Men books. Because they had been successful for 20 years.